Scott Ritter joins us now. Scott is in the United States. I'm in northern Italy. Scott, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. We both thought that I would be off last week and this week, but historic events require that we comment on them. A week after the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, what are your thoughts as an ex-Marine, as a person trained in the use of all sorts of firearms? Could this young man have possibly pulled this off on his own? Would the skills necessary to do this be ones of somebody as to whom there's very little record of training or practicing?
I mean, the answer to that is highly unlikely. Let me preface my comments by just making it clear to people. While I was an intelligence officer and I had peripheral contact with personal security details, including the Secret Service protection protocols and procedures that are used at the United Nations during the General Assembly, I am not a Secret Service agent. Personal protective security is not my specialty. So I'm like you. I'm an outsider, looking at this. But I am a professional analyst, and I am able to break problems down into their component parts. And
you were in the Marine Corps and trained to use these weapons.
I was in the Marine Corps and I was trained to use the weapons, and I have some familiarity with sniping. So I'm not totally ignorant on this. I just don't want people to think that I'm, some former Secret Service. I'm not.
Okay.
But when you look at probability, the Secret Service is designed from the ground up, when you talk about personal protective details, to prevent this kind of thing from happening. So one would imagine that if you have a Secret Service that wasn't born yesterday, it's been around for a long time, it's experienced assassination attempts, it should be fine-tuned to this, operating in an environment where, in addition to domestic, the heightened domestic threat, the fact that political violence is a reality in America, you overlay that with, intelligence of potential foreign threats to the president and former president. The Secret Service should be as forward-leaning and effective as one could possibly imagine. Then you compare and contrast that with the shooter, who lacks the training, lacks the expertise, it doesn't fit the profile. So you compare and contrast the most qualified personal protection service organization in the world with the least potentially qualified assassin in the world, and this guy pulled off a successful assassination. If it weren't for however you want to call it, divine providence or just sheer luck, the tilt of the head, he would have killed his target. It would have been a successful assassination. The odds of this happening, Vegas odds makers wouldn't, you can't calculate because it's impossible. It's literally impossible. And so we have to degrade the Secret Service and we have to enhance the shooter. And it appears that we see evidence of that. We see, just rookie mistakes on the part of the Secret Service. And then the question is, are these intentional or, deliberate, or is it just incompetence? And we have to factor our modify our answer, or at least regulate our answer about incompetence by saying that the Secret Service by design is supposed to be immune to incompetence, that it has a level of professionalism attached to it that precludes incompetence, because the moment you exhibit any incompetence, less than perfect attention to detail, you're removed. They don't tolerate mistakes. And yet they made nothing but mistakes here. And so one has to legitimately ask, were these mistakes deliberate in nature? And the same thing with this shooter. How does he fly a drone? There's reports that he flew a drone. Why does he have 3 phones with encrypted channels, including channels talking to overseas people? How did he get to the roof? How did he get the ladder? How did he get the weapon up there? How did he know to bear crawl? How did he understand the layout of the land so that he could mask his movement up to the point where he took the shot? Because everything that I just described How did he have a vehicle full of explosives that was rigged to go off as a potential distraction? Everything I've described is a sign of a professional, and a professional that isn't working alone, a professional that is working in league, in concert with others. Everything about the attempted assassination, and again, even though President Trump isn't dead, it is the successful assassination of President Trump because it was a success. The Secret Service didn't stop this. The assassin wasn't foiled. The assassin got off a killing shot, and it should have killed Donald Trump. The reason why Trump is alive has nothing to do with the Secret Service, nothing to do with protection. It is either divine intervention or just an act of sheer luck. But this was a successful assassination.
Do you